I'm going to say it again. If you don't move it or use it, you lose it in the brain, in the connections of the brain. If the brain doesn't have a mapping system of something that you constantly do, it's not going to log and file it up there. And today we are talking about handwriting. Handwriting is one of the most powerful and effective ways to light up nearly every part of your brain. Yet in this overwhelming, efficient digital world we live in, this is out the door and this is in. It's far easier to write your shopping list on your phone and take your phone to the shop. It's far easier to text a friend rather than writing a beautiful handwritten note to your friend. It's far easier to write on a computer your computer notes when you're sitting in a lecture, or write an email instead of a handwritten note delivered by a dove back in the day. Yes, it's more efficient to quickly type out a text or quickly write an email or quickly tap away. And sometimes we don't even do that. We speak into the phone. I do it all the time. Hey, how you going? What's happening today? What have you been up to? I will talk it instead of actually type it, which is even more lazy and even more efficient. But what it's doing is it's not stimulating many parts of my brain as much as if I put pen to paper. When you put pen to paper or your handwriting, it stimulates different and more complex brain connections that are essential in encoding new information and helping us to learn. Precise, controlled hand movements that occur when writing lead to spatial and temporal patterns in the brain that promote better memory and learning. You will retain the information far better if you write it down using different colors of pens, using highlighters. Physically writing out the words is going to stick the memory into your brain rather than typing it out. Why? Because there is a massive difference to tapping a letter on the computer than to actually forming the shape and structure of that letter on paper. Forming the letter activates nearly all areas of the brain compared to typing or speaking. Writing requires communication between the brain's visual, sensory, cerebellum, motor centers, frontal cortex. Nearly every area of the brain is going to light up when you start writing pen to paper. It is a lost art and one we need to start bringing back, because if you don't use it, you lose it. Very, very important to teach our kids how to write, because I know I have an 11-year-old and he is being taught, yes, how to write by hand, but he's also being taught how to type, how to use the computer, how to use the iPad. We were never taught that back in our day because it didn't exist. So our brains lit up and worked very differently and had a greater ability to connect and form rather than the kids this day and age. They're losing that ability to connect the dots. They're losing the ability to think ahead. They're losing the ability to have spatial awareness around them because their focus is pulled into so many different places and spaces all at once. And that's because of the distractive use of technology. So one of the best things you can do is obviously get your child to put pen to paper. Even if it's drawing, even if it's scribbling, they are using their fine motor skills and switching on more areas of the brain. When we light up more areas of the brain, we physically and emotionally are going to feel better in everything and anything that we do. So here are some tips to get more handwriting in your day. Place something up on the fridge, whether it's an A4 piece of paper, you can buy butcher's paper and stick it to the fridge, and you're going to write down your shopping list. And you're going to take that shopping list with you to the shops instead of putting it in your phone. That's a simple little trick or hack that you can do throughout the day to switch on more lights in your brain. Number 2, journaling. Write your thoughts down. Put pen to paper. This is going to activate many parts of your brain, but it's also going to give you a release of pent-up energy that you may be experiencing, a release of the words and the muddle inside of your head. When it is out, it's not within. Write your worries out of your wounds. Let the paper absorb the pain as the ink soaks in. If it's out, it's not within, and that's a great place to begin. So journaling is a great way to upgrade you mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, because you are working on all of those aspects when you are putting pen to paper and bringing your thoughts from here onto here. Journaling is a very important one everyone should be doing. Number 3, when was the last time you physically wrote a letter to one of your friends? Some of you probably never. If you're a young generation, that's just not a thing. But do you know how cool it is to receive mail from a friend that's handwritten with love and energy spilled on those pages, and you get to open it up and you're just instantly transported into your friend's arms when you receive that letter. So you write a letter to your friend, whether that's a quick little postcard or a quick, little A4 piece of paper that you scribble on, your friend's going to feel so loved and appreciated because you took the time and the energy to put pen to paper. Now, for those of you who are learning something new, if you're at university, if you're studying, you need to write down your information rather than type it out on the computer, because as I said, the forming of the words will build new neural input into memory. And they've done a study on, I think it was in Denmark, they did a study on people who typed their notes into the computer compared to someone who wrote their notes out. And the people who wrote their notes out got higher marks on their exams because they retained the information. It's almost like you're connecting, when you write on paper, you're actually connecting those words, that movement, that formation into the movement and formation of your body. Your brain is literally wiring and firing and making imprinted memories and maps of what you're putting down on paper. So it's extremely powerful to learn that way as well. Make sure you use lots of colors, highlighters, different colored pens, because the colors are also going to light up different parts of your brain. So it is a quick one today, but it's an important one because we are losing a lot of things at a very fast, rapid rate. And that is because of this digitalized world we live in. I mean, an AI bot could probably live your life for you now, let alone write your shopping list and write a whole essay for university. It's crazy what is happening out there in the digital world. Sometimes for better brain health, we actually need to slow it down. We need to come back to simplifying things to magnifying things. Now, the simple version and form was always putting pen to paper. Always. Do you remember being on the phone? This is showing my age. Do you remember being on the phone that's connected to the wall and you were talking to your friend and just scribble and scribble and scribble? You were in a focused attention and a state of presence there that was enhancing your brain function to the 10th degree. Now we're on a mobile phone, not even holding it. We're speaking into it, we're driving, we're looking something up, we're eating a half-eaten bagel and drinking a coffee. And our senses and our brain doesn't have the capacity to understand what's actually going on and what you want it to, focus your attention on. So let me give you an example. If I'm after more focus, if I want to sit down and really nut out some work, yet I'm sitting down, I have 6 tabs open on my computer screen, I have, as I said, some food over here and a coffee here. I've got people walking past the office, or I'm at home and I've got delivery drivers knocking on the door every 20 minutes. Your brain is trying to do the best it possibly can to make you focus, but it's also focusing on the smell of that coffee, the half-eaten food that you're digesting, the distractions of the bings on your phone and the 6 tabs and the notifications and someone knocking on the door or the car driving past or the person walking past your office. And it's going, hey, you need to specifically tell me what you want because I've got all these things I'm trying to process at once. So what we need to do is simplify things. You want more focus? You get rid of your phone. You turn off the notifications. You don't eat while you're focusing. You shut down the computer. You put pen to paper. You write down what you want to do. Or if you're not doing that, you type it out, just you and the computer in that moment. And your brain's going to simplify things and go, right, we are literally focusing only on this. I can't smell this. I can't do that. I can't eat that. I can't. It takes everything else away and it just simplifies the version for you. And that's how you're going to get more focus. I went off on a little tangent there, as I always do, but in this overwhelming world that's going to continue to make things more efficient and easier and faster and more distracting and less activating, we're going to turn more lights off and just become these kind of people if we're not doing the simple, day-to-day, focused, present attention requiring tools and exercises that switch on more parts of our brain, like handwriting.